I was just asking a question regarding the lease from the university for the property, that we didn't have anything of that nature in the package. You said that you had taken a different approach to come to the city first. And I said it would be more helpful for me if we had something from the university saying that the property would be leased for this project contingent upon financing being acquired, however you acquire financing, private financing is I prefer, or if the city does it through bond, which is not my preference, but at least we would have something before us prior to that. And we know that there is some land upon which there has been agreement, because also in the land at the site on Main Street that Ms. Whitehead had mentioned when we first came, we also mentioned there was another group that was also seeking to build on that land, and there was no tentative contract or agreement given as far as that land being available, because there are actually two groups, if not more, seeking that land. So it would be beneficial to have something that says we have an agreement with someone that we can use this land if we get financed.
Right. And you just hold that point of clarification, because this point was brought up at our last time we discussed it, and I stated that I'd spoken to Attorney Gray, and he had indicated that the land was available to whatever developer was ready to go. Not only did I verify, they met with him as late as again today, and we could ask Attorney Gray Jr. to take off one hat and talk about that particular issue, because Mr. Gray has made it very, very clear that whoever is ready to do something, he is ready to do something. As a matter of fact, why don't you share the results of y'all's meeting with him today? And we're just now talking, only problem we're not talking about the students now. We're talking about the project in your neighborhood, Council Lady Whitehead.
We did have a conversation with Attorney Gray today. He said the land is definitely available. He's anxious and willing to negotiate at a fair market value, that he can have a fair market value price, and that he was very willing to enter negotiations and discussions on that.
Now, the issue before the council is what I'd like for the council to consider is, Mr. Gray has indicated that he is willing to make the land available. What I'd like the council to at least consider tonight is going on record, and we can do it in a simple motion, and the attorney can follow it up with a resolution if you like. A simple resolution stating that this is the kind of project that we'd like to see in our community, and that we would be willing to work with them to work out a mutually agreeable arrangement. They've set it out there. We can study it as long as we have 45 days. We don't have to issue any bonds. We don't have to, it doesn't cost us anything. But out of good faith, these people have probably spent $30,000 or $40,000 or more coming back and forth. We've got that whole team of developers here, and they mean business, and they're ready to go. So I'd like to, Council Lady Whitehead, if you know, this is in your district, and it's also in my neighborhood too, quite frankly. As Council Lady Moon, we saw how excited you were about something being developed and improved in your neighborhood. Those of us who live over on the lake community, we would certainly like to see this kind of development, particularly because we're not talking about anything that's going to cost the city anything, but instead it's a project that is proposing to develop retail, which will generate, and we need more retail in our neighborhood. We don't have any gasoline probably wouldn't be there anyway, but they have other items. You have to come all the way to town because the yellow store closes. The only thing we got down in that area is we have to come out, but it would generate retail sales tax and convenience for the people. It would generate avalorum tax, and of course it would there are probably 500 or 600 people, professional people who live in Montgomery and Auburn, who would probably, and I'm very pleased that Tuskegee University has started to develop on the lake. They bought 2 houses on the lake in Attorney Gray can attest to that, and they fixed them up, and these professional people are living over there in our neighborhood. And it would be the start of something, I think, good to have that area. Right now, it's just vacant land, doing nothing, growing up. It's a forest. So a simple resolution indicating that we would be willing to enter in, authorize the city manager and council members, you can work with them, and if you will, Council Lady Whitehead, you can work with the city manager to come up with something that can bring back to the council for our final consideration. So that's what I'd like to place before the council. Yes.
What type of resolution are we coming up with? Because I thought we had done this before and given them a vote of support in our previous meeting. What are we being asked to support?
No, well, the last time we dealt with two projects, we dealt with both projects. All we asking for tonight is your feelings about this particular project. Your first concern was about the land, and I'd like to ask Attorney Gray to put on the other hat and speak on behalf of his family about the land if they think the land is available.
Well,
they've said
really not the availability. I just would like to have something in writing. I mean, Attorney Gray usually functions in writing. Attorney Gray Jr. usually functions in writing. I would think out of respect to the council, you'd give us something in writing for a major project that at least shows a contingency of intent to make the land available. We don't even have that initial step in writing.
Well,
That's what I would.
Well, let me just say this. I really don't know, and we always like to try to do whatever the council wishes to do on this. Why don't we hear? We've heard from Haygood. Let's hear from Councilman Lee. Did you want to speak? Whitehead?
I think I'm going to reserve most of my comments at this time on the project. As I expressed to you, my primary concern is seeing the student housing project done. So I want to explore this one a little bit more. I don't want to rule it out or rule it in, but I think we just need a little bit more time to, explore this specific part of the project. I know for a fact, and I've said it from day one, I said it during campaign, I'm glad that we crossed paths, because if we built a student apartment building right now, I could show you, 300, 400, 500 students right now who would be really willing, ready, and able to move in. At this point in time, I'm not convinced that that same type of demand there is for the property. And it very well might be, but I just think before we rush into anything, we need to explore that a little bit more. So that's where I stand. Thank you all for the hard work you all have done on the project so far, and helping us bring these needs to our city. But I'm just not quite ready to rush into this right now.
Okay, Council Lady Whitehead.
As Attorney Gray Sr. has offered his land for sale, I'm all for going with the project on the lake. If you don't want to deal with the city, I'm for all, for the school, but I'm with all of it, really. I'm with the whole project. But if we can start with the lake, that would be fine. If the land is available, the first come, first served. If they're ready to go with the project, these investors put some apartments or some houses or retail stores there. We need this in our area, and the lake is ready to go with it. And I'd like to move on it. The land is available, and I'd like to move on that project.
Council Lady Moon.
Well, I always like to hear from legal counsel and the city manager. They have both said that they've reviewed the project, and they think it's worthwhile for us to begin, not that we will do,
right,
but for us to be worthwhile in saying to the university, we support this project. We will not, that's not signing our wish against the city. I need to know one thing though, when we float the bond, will this be for the development of the project on Main Street?
Well, tonight I'm not asking for us to commit to do the bond. We want to meet with them later, find out if, how they want to do it. They get investment bankers or we get investment bankers. But each project would be separate.
Mr. Mayor, I think it's very worthwhile for us to continue the process of this project.
All right. Well, the chair would entertain a motion that we continue the process. And let us hear from the attorney, though, make sure, so we can clear this up once and for all.
It's just as the gentleman stated, and I was in the meeting this afternoon, and our position simply is it's available, we'd like to see it developed, and it's just a matter of the parties negotiating, whether it's, in this case, this party, negotiating and determining fair market value and putting the purchase price through.
So the chair would entertain a motion that we go on record to continue the process with all of you all, to let you know that we are sincere about this and we appreciate what you're doing. And what we're talking about is we want to take them in stages. We want to take the South Main project first. We know that there are details to be worked out, but you've got to get the land squared away. Let's finalize the financing, how we want to go with the financing. And we come back to the council. You've got a schedule of 45 days is what you've said. Right. Yeah, we could probably do it less than that even. But I want to give the council members time to breathe.
Mr. Mayor, it was my opinion, again, that I think if, we need to move forward with, if feasible, with the campus project first. I've stated it, over and over. But that's what I envision coming in. And I mean, it's important to note that these are revenue-generating bonds that we're talking about issuing. So, I'm comfortable doing a revenue-generating bond for that university project because I'm convinced that that's going to generate some revenue, much-needed revenue, and supply a need in the city. I'm just not quite convinced that once we put this, these nice affordable houses on that lake property, that they're going to fill up immediately. I hope they do, but I think our first priority should be the student. We should explore all of our options with getting, the university on board, because a project like that can be a single boost for this whole community that can take us to the next level. We're talking about recapturing 1,000 students. That needs to be our first priority. Once we do that, I think then we can move along to the next phase. And this is just my opinion, I think that should be the first priority, the student apartment portion.
Thank you, Mr. Lee. We appreciate your opinion, and we appreciate the opinion of all of the members of the council. That's what democracy is all about. Let me just simply say again, as mayor of this city, all of these things are important to me and to our constituents. But when we've got investors who are willing to spend their time and their money to come to our community and offer to assist us, we need to at least meet them halfway, and that's no reflection. So tonight, I would like the council to please just go on record in support of this particular project. And whenever you're ready, Mr. Lee, for the students, we'll be ready to take that on as well. I'd like to be able to do them all, quite frankly, but at least it would say to them, and the chair would, matter of fact, the chair will entertain a motion that we go with the South, go on record in support of the South Main project. The South Main project.
Mayor Ford, I move that the investors get together with our city manager and come up with whatever plan or process that goes through and get started with the project on the Main Street.
And then, of course, bring it back to us when they have something. I second the motion to get it on the floor. Call for the question.